Hello everybody, welcome back to Bull Bear Trader. Alright, so today I'm gonna go over the earning for tomorrow. But before I go over those, I want to go over AMD. Why? Because AMD, in fact, is one of the hot stock that comparable to Nvidia. Due to the tariff with China's and chip graphic chips that it just allowed to sell, and recently it made a lot of news. So now I'm gonna quickly go over it. The last time I covered was around May when it's earning, when I say based on the breakout, most likely we're gonna have a breakout of this orange resistance and move toward the 115, which is the blue line right here. So as you can see, it went up, came back down, and then up, pull back, and up, and then went up, pull back down to test, and then went up all the way to 155 after that. So now let's take a look. You can see it's pretty overbought. If I switch to weekly, is around 92, 93, and the last time it's like that, we got a pullback, right? So now most likely we have something similar. See, every time it hit that high of a level, we see a pullback after that, at least for a couple weeks. So maybe it's gonna be the same this time. We will see. So now let me check this out. So since April, for about 3 months now, it has been steady going uptrend. And if we look, it came up here, test this, and then looked like it pulled back a little bit today. If I put a line right here, you can see is correlate to the previous pivot point right here, previous high, and then there's another pivot point, and then a lot of pivot point right here. So you can see that is pretty, I would say it's a major support. I mean major resistance. I'm sorry, major resistance. All right, and it's overbought. Now let's quick. Okay, so if I draw the trend line here, let me change the color to purple. All right, so it basically is from here, come up, test it, pull back, come up, test it again. So now I expect you can see the both resistance line right here. So it might go up a little bit to say 160, and then we'll have a pullback to about 146, right? And then bounce a little bit, and then most likely come down to 133. Okay, so for Nvidia short term, I see a pullback to 146, and 133. We are talking about maybe a month, well, actually around earning. Okay, so earning is around August, so we have another couple weeks. So let's say 3 weeks we get there. All right, now we are moving to the earning for tomorrow. I'm going to start with ASML. All right, I have not looked at this one, so let me take a quick look. Usually before I do any analysis, I want to take a quick look to see where for the past 3 years the minimum of a stock, I mean the mean of the stock. So I would say about here, about 725, right? So now it's still around that area, even though we got a downtrend, and then recently it going upward. If they switch to weekly, it's a bit overbought. Okay, it might still have a little bit of a spray in the ceiling here at 855, because I go back to the previous high and then pivot point, and then over here pivot point. So it's good enough for me to establish the limit. Now let me switch back to daily. Okay, so it's been going downtrend, broke out, and then recently just like most of the stock now, they are in the uptrend. Okay, so let me take this out. Mark the orange so it's easier to see. Okay, so we got a doji right here. Overbought, but seem like this might be a little bit upside. So there's more chance of coming back down to 800 if it just the earning just okay and the outlook is either average or negative. If the numbers are really good, we can see it head higher to 855. But 800 is more likely because this has been overbought, and now expectation is a little bit higher. So I would say 800, 800, I would say we get about 65%, 35%, 855. Bank America, look at this. Short term oversold, especially today with other bank like what was it? State Street, BlackRock, Wells Fargo. So we can see that it right here, right? So right here, in a way, this could be a triple top. If we flip it, it will become multiple bottom. If I draw this is the so this is the current trend. Look like even though we for weekly it overbought, day short-term daily it go off a little bit. So like the other banks, looks like we have a more chance of a further pullback to about, let's say, 44. If earning is just, I would say, decent, outlook is average or negative. Number have to be good in order to get a bounce. So 44 for lower limit, 48 for upper limit. But it's most likely another pullback, and if it does, it will break down below the support, the short-term support, and then go to 44, come back up, and then go further to about 42 to close this gap right here. And then we have another gap at 40, at 38, and at 36. So we got a lot of gaps to fill. But I am seeing more of a breakdown than a bounce. Goldman Sachs, let's see. Been a long time I look at this. So it went past well, look like they made all-time high. Okay, so they did all-time. Looking at the mean we see is, I would say it's around here at 400 something, 450. So right now is pretty high. So let's see. So right now I see it has a bull flag right here. All right, So we might see a bounce, and since it is all-time high, if it bounce, we're looking at probably 740, yeah, let's see, probably 747 was, so 747 for upper limit for a pullback. Most likely we will see 672. Why? Because the previous high right here. Usually when it break higher above the previous high, it tend to come back down to test it and then bounce. So it might come back at this point to 672 for a pullback. For a rally, 747. And well, let me see. You know what? Even though we got a bull flag, but I think testing the last high at 672 is actually there's more chance. So far we look like we're gonna see a lot of pullback for the stocks. So most likely I would say 65% pullback, 35% breaking higher, all-time high, hitting 747. Progressive oversold compared to last 3 months. It's actually lower. You know what interesting? I learned this, right? So let's say that you can see here it's like an M pattern, right? All right, so normally an M pattern, meaning when it revert and bounce, it will bounce back to about this level. So this might be the perfect opportunity, because you can see here it is at long-term support. You can see all the pivot point here, and then now I touch it. If we go back to weekly, you can see oversold. So for progressive, expectation is low. So with earning, it just need to be not horrible, just okay. And sometimes even it's a little bit bad with outlook, we may have a bounce. And guess where gonna bounce? Most likely the bounce 255. And I see this, I would say 70 to 75%. All right. But you never know when it can be oversold. It could even go even lower. And 230 will be the lower limit, but it's only about 25 to 30%, not much. But we most likely will get a bounce for progressive. Johnson and Johnson. Haven't seen this stock for a while. Look like is overbought. Let me switch. Well, it's not that overbought. If we look, the mean is around I would say about 160 right now, or the mean, and it's got a bunch of pivot point around here as well. So that is a good level to watch. Now we go back, right? Oh, let me go back to the daily. All right, so daily compared to early April, it did not even come back to that level. So, well, that's why the RSI is not that high. All right, if I draw some trend line, oh no, something is wrong. All right, so you can see it being bouncing off the support and within the wedge, the orange wedge. It's a little bit overbought short term, but long term is not. So we have 50-50 chance of breakout or breakdown. So breakdown will be 150, and breakout will be 160. I don't think it'll move that much. Based on the chart, but you never know. Oh, let me see. I'm seeing something here. So you can see from the top, in May all the way here, we can see it kind of match the red line right at 160. The 160 is could be a major resistance for Johnson & Johnson. So it need really good earning to hit that, or maybe past it. Okay. So you know what? I have noticed that for pharmaceutical lately, due to the tariff, they don't perform that well. But things might change because, you know, the stock market, they rotate. So maybe it will get its chance soon. But for now, we get a 50-50 chance breakdown to 150 and break out at 160 for Johnson & Johnson. Morgan Stanley. It looked like it broke above. Okay, again. Remember I told you about the previous high. When it broke above it, most likely you'll come back and test it. So let me see. It's still at a pretty high point. It's overbought, so most likely we'll see a pullback. So earning, unless it's like really good, like JP Morgan or Citi, otherwise we'll see 135 most likely. But if we got really good number, guide the limit, I would say 150 for the top limit, top the range, bottom of the range, lower the range 135. So 65% lower, 35% higher. PNC, another bank, looked like it did not really, I mean, it passed its March, April high, but not earlier of the year. If I look at it, so let's quickly okay, so that's the current trend. Okay, it looked like it's overbought, very overbought. And you see last time at the end of 24, it went lower about 2 to 3 weeks after that. So most like the other bank, we might see a little bit go lower to where 185. Well, let's take care of that later. If for really good earning, it may broke out and that's 204. $185. So if number get really good, we talk about really good, 204. Otherwise decent number or that report, 185. So about 70% lower, 30% higher for PNC. Do a technical and the chart. And you know what? After this, it will bounce. Okay? So keep that in mind. Doesn't mean it's going to come down and then broke lower. It might, but a lot of time it will bounce and then break lower if there's bad news about tariff or anything related to the policy, because you never know. Right now everything is overbought, so it is time for a correction. So look at this. It prolonges, it did not come back, and look like right now it's a little bit below the mean. All right. For short term, well, let me check long term. Weekly a little bit overbought, but not much. Okay. So for short term, this one will be a little bit tricky, right? Because it's moving in a very tight wedge. Okay. So it's been moving like this, right? At this point, I'm seeing it coming back inside the wedge. No, it could be 50-50 because right now it's testing this support now, and it might bounce. And if it does, we see 112. Yeah, I think it'll be a 50-50. If it's bad, it's okay number, and just okay number, and negative outlook, we might see it coming down to 104. So 104 and then 113. And this is 50-50 for the wedge right now, and at the condition both long and short term. So yeah, I would say 50-50 at this point. And these are the lower range and upper range for the earning. All right, the next one is United Airlines. United Airlines. It went above the March, April, but it's still below last beginning of the year. Okay, so it look like I draw this chart before, and you can see it been bouncing, within the wedge, and then boom, it broke out. So let's look at the chart. You can see here it does look like it's had, it has a bull flag, so that's why it broke. Bounce higher, pull back down, test this, then bounce again. Okay, so let's see. Okay, then for the low, okay, it's a little bit overbought. Let me see. Yeah, it's overbought. So I'm seeing is need to have really good number. Otherwise, I'm seeing is closing this gap. He has 82 or as low as 80. But 82 is most likely about, I would say, about 70% or more, 75. If it go higher and break above the trend, we're seeing at 95. But only at about 25%, 20 to 25%. Most likely we have a pullback for a United Airline, down to about 82. Hey, alcoa, alcoa. Look like, okay. All right, so you see here, right? Remember the M, but on the flip side is a W. This is something that I learned, right? So most likely, when you have a W, it will come back and hit this. So if I draw the red line, look at this. When I come back, it hit and then bounce. Actually here first, bounce, come back, hit it again, bounce. And in the third time it went lower, came up, you see the same line from here as well. See that? Is something cool. So if you see something like that, it's almost like a gap. It will come back and test it. All right. So for alcoa, no alcoa, did not come back to about 34 level. So its RSI is low, but the good thing is still trending up, right? You can see they've been bouncing, bounce again, and it looked like it kind of goes sideways for a little bit, and now it's kind of like weakened. And if I switch to long-term weekly, it's a little bit overbought, but not too much. But this one is crucial. It broke below the support. So we have more chance, about 60% going to 26. And about 40% of it bouncing off this orange line and then go to at least 32. If it has a good number, so 60, 40. All right. But yeah, it could bounce with good number. All right, the last one for today, it will be Kinder Morgan. Kinder Morgan KMI. It's decent. It broke above and then came back to test, but broke down below. Right here, you can see this level is pretty crucial. You got a bunch of these pivot points. For the trend, look like it been so it broke below the support line, try to come back up and stay right here. So I would say 40% lower to probably 26. Yeah. So 40% going lower. And 60% going higher. If it does, it coming back. I would say about 31. 31.50. Okay. 60% going higher, 40% lower. Is because it's oversold a little bit for short term, and it's right at the support, so it's got a little bit more chance of rallying. Wow, we did it. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Please hit a like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more video. If you don't want to wait, click the video up here, over here, okay, and you will see more video, and see you the next time.